If it's up to the governments of the 27 countries that are part of the European Union, former Portuguese Prime Minister Jose Manuel Barroso will stay on as chief of Europe's top executive body for another 5 years. At their June 2009 summit, the Union's prime ministers and presidents decided to endorse Barroso's bid for a second 5-year term as president of the European Commission.
I'm extremely proud of the unanimous support I've received from heads of state of government of the European Union. More than proud, I'm moved. It was for me a very important moment to receive that support with such impressive words of encouragement and recognition of the work that this Commission has made in extremely challenging circumstances.
So it's well beyond midnight here at the European Council on Friday, the 19th of June 2009. And today is the day actually that Jose Manuel Barroso has been reappointed for another 5 years as president of the European Commission. The endorsement of Barroso is part of a high-level game of political power play. The game also links to the expected appointment of several other top EU positions later in the year. Among them, the prestigious post of permanent president of the Council and that of European Foreign Minister. And just as important, Barroso's reappointment signals the role that the European Parliament will be allowed to play in the next 5 years when it comes to shaping European integration. If it's up to the EU member states' governments, that role for the Parliament will be as limited as possible. The confusion over the treaties that determine the game rules for the European Union makes it possible for Europe's leadership to exchange diplomatic favours without serious public scrutiny. The Lisbon Treaty on the future of Europe remains to be ratified. This means that the EU has to play under the rules of the Nice Treaty. Under Nice, it's the governments of the EU member states that appoint the president of the Commission. Under Lisbon, that right is with the Parliament. Barroso admits that elements of both treaties are already being mixed.
Today, the leaders approved my name according to Nice, but in fact already with the spirit of Lisbon.
The European Parliament is not just a rubber stamp for the Council. It's an elected parliament in exactly the same basis as national parliaments. So you can't have a situation where the Council is just saying, we take Barroso, and you just say yes sir, no sir.
Several members of the European Parliament had already called on the European governments to make a clear choice between Lisbon and Nice.
Pourquoi ils ne veulent pas nommer la Commission aujourd'hui sous le traité de Nice? Parce que si ils nomment la Commission, toute la Commission, et chargent M. Barroso, ils doivent décider quel est le pays qui n'aura pas de commissaire. Si le Parlement européen, dès le début, en juillet, ne se fait pas respecter, pendant 5 ans, il ne se fera pas respecter.
Il faut que le Conseil clarifie sur quelle base il veut décider. Soit Nice, soit Lisbonne. Si c'est Nice, il faut nous dire quelle structure aura la Commission, quel pays n'aura pas de commissaire. Si c'est Lisbonne, on peut attendre jusque les Irlandais ont ratifié.
At least the European Council should assure that the appointment of the next president of the European Commission should be legally binding.
If the Council gives us a legally binding proposition, then Parliament should vote on it. That is in the spirit of loyal cooperation between the institutions. Of course, if the Council fails to take a position which is legally binding, then there is no obligation on Parliament to vote, and it's really a signal from the Council itself that the matter is best left until after the summer.
The Social Democrats, the second biggest group in the European Parliament, have already said that they will not vote in favour of Barroso. And this makes it very difficult to find a majority in favour of Barroso that does not include the new right-wing parties.
Mais même si les premiers ministres socialistes soutiennent M. Barroso comme déclaration politique, mon groupe va ni voter pour lui.
One possible alternative to Barroso's candidacy could have been that of former Belgian Prime Minister Guy Verhofstadt, who now is a Liberal MEP. Verhofstadt could have had the support of the Parliament with a possible majority between Social Democrats, Greens and Liberals. But the Liberals are divided. Fredrik Reinfeldt, Prime Minister of Sweden, which holds the EU rotating presidency in the second half of this year, favoured continuity in the EU because of the severe economic crisis.
Europe is in a deep economic crisis. We have a need for acting on the climate crisis and to get a solution in Copenhagen in December. So this is not the time to make confusions concerning European leadership.
Convincing the European Parliament to support him is going to be a tough challenge for Barroso.
Clearly, the Parliament has to organise itself, and it's up to the European People's Party, Mr. Barroso's party, now to go out and build a majority in his favour. Whether they can do that by the 15th of July, or whether in fact they will need till the autumn, I'm not yet sure.
One of his key messages is that he has the unanimous support from all the presidents and prime ministers, all of whom are directly elected representatives of the citizens of their member state.
Look, Europe has to be a cross-party project. It has to be political, but not too partisan. And what happened to that was interesting. Because we have one president from the extreme left group, from the communist and affiliates group, some prime ministers from the socialist and social democratic family, some prime ministers from the liberal group, some prime ministers from the EPP group.
The European Council is widely acknowledged as the most powerful political body in the European Union. By emphasizing that this council also is governed by directly elected national officials, Barroso has already set the tone for the next 5 years. The Parliament is not going to be pleased, but there is little that it can do about it. Raymond Franken, EurActiv.